I'm breaking open a brand new dot grid journal. It's pink and gold and also pretty, and I'm setting it up for 2021. So I hope you'll stay and let's plan together. Honestly, friends, there's nothing that makes me more happy than a brand new notebook. This one that I chose for 2021 is by a company called Archer & Olive. It has bright white pages, and of course I chose a pink cover with this gold. I'm so happy with it and I can't wait to start planning for 2021. Fingers crossed it's a better year than 2020. So to begin journaling, you will need a good eraser. I like using a pencil a lot, so I have a pencil as well. I also pulled out a couple of pens, and I will leave a list of all the tools that I'm using in today's video in the description box below, so make sure to check it out there. Once I wrote down my name, I turned to the first page, and here I'm actually drawing a Ganesha. Ganesha is believed to be the remover of all obstacles, and I love it. It's my favorite muse. I have canvas painting of it, and I always like to start a new journal with a quick sketch of Ganesha for good luck. After that, I wanted to set up a reference page or a guide, and I'm actually using the last page of my journal for this. And with a pencil, I'm just writing down the numbers of how many columns are there, how many rows are there, and I like using a pencil for this because you can easily erase and move things around. I also drew in boxes, like to mark if there were 3 columns on a page, how many boxes can I draw? I would be able to draw 3 boxes that were 7 dots wide. So this is a bit of math, and I like doing this ahead of time, and I also like drawing the boxes because I'm a visual person. I like seeing it instead of counting every time, and this makes it much more easier to set up your further pages in the future where you won't have to keep counting again and again. I highly recommend that you do this before you start any of your pages. Either use the last page of your journal or the first page, it doesn't matter. Make sure to draw the shapes, either columns or rows, and write inside them how many dots you've used to create them. So now let's start journaling. For the first page, I wanted to write down the numbers 2021 to mark the new year. I ended up going with a pencil and actually drawing in my numbers. I think this is because I was filming this as well. If I was just sitting on a sofa, I might have free-handed it with a pen directly. But either ways, I used 10 pixels tall and 5 pixels wide to draw my letters, and I love the way this turned out. It's a bold typography element. On the facing page, I started creating a pattern with a gray marker. It's such a simple thing actually, and I didn't really think I would enjoy it so much. I just wanted to fill the page with some kind of interest. So I picked up my gray marker and just doodled circles. You can fill it with any shape that you want. And then to give a nice element of contrast, I pulled out a black marker and then I colored in the numbers 2021. This just makes it look so much more bolder, and honestly this took way longer than I thought it would. How many minutes do you think it took me to color in 2021? Let me know in the comments below. I love adding motivational quotes to my planner. It's such a nice way to keep positive, and whenever you read the words, you just feel empowered to do more, and it just gives you this magical power that makes you think that you can get everything accomplished that's on your to-do list. Here I'm using a brush pen to brush letter a quote, and I'm not doing anything fancy. You can do any kind of lettering that you want. I'm using just one color, and the words say, "Your goal is simple. Be the best version of yourself. Everything else is noise." I just love these words, and I think it's perfect for the goals that I have in 2021. So for this next page, I wanted to divide the page into 3 columns and 4 rows. That way I would have 12 blocks to document 12 goals that I want to achieve in the new year. I also want to have a 12 actions on the other side, and so with my ruler I'm carefully drawing out my rectangles. I checked my last page for my measurements, and I wasn't having fun really because the ruler just takes so much time, and with my tripod up there I wasn't able to see what I was doing. So I took this off screen and started drawing and realized I will never get anything done if I'm trying to use the ruler to do this. So I'm just freehanding my rectangles. Yes, I put the ruler aside and I'm just joining the dots to draw my lines. The lines are wonky and they will never be perfect, but I think that I just have to embrace it if I want to get this entire setup done. And honestly, it's kind of fun to draw in the rectangles. They don't have to be perfect exactly, but they do look pretty when they're all lined up. I added a quick title to the page with a banner and then some floral doodles. Florals are going to be a recurring theme of this journal for sure. I then added some numbers, some gray lines, and called it done. Moving ahead, I'm actually drawing more florals, And I pulled out that fancy ruler that I'd bought and I used it to actually draw a circle. It comes with this inbuilt compass feature that's kind of cool, so at least I'll use it for that. And once I had the pencil circle in place, I picked up my pen and started doodling flowers, leaves, lines, and just filled in the whole circle. I love the way this looks in the middle of the page. And then I added a doodled border. Actually, it's not a doodled border, it's just a line border, and I'm kind of proud of how straight it looks. I added the title Small Wins and Big Wins because I'm a constant list maker and I always try to accomplish more. I want this page to be some place where I can come and just write down everything that I've actually got done and be proud of it. The next page we're going to set up now is the most quintessential bullet journal-esque page, A Year in Pixels. This is where you just draw 365 boxes and color them in to mark your progress, your transition, your effort over 365 days. I'm drawing 2 year in pixel grids in this page, and I divided the page into 2 columns of 12 each. The 12 will represent the number of months, that's January to December. Those will mark the days 1 to 31. And I just kept coming back and correcting things with my white tape, and I really didn't need to do that. I was actually correct the first time I drew it, which just goes to show that you will make mistakes in your bullet journaling, and I don't want you to think that everything needs to be perfect from the get-go. I want to encourage you to go in, make mistakes, and remember that you can always come in with the correction tape and just erase them and redo them. I ended up creating 4 grids here, and I love the way this turned out. The next page is all about quotes and motivational words. I follow a lot of people on Instagram that really share positive things every day, and I have this bad habit of just taking screenshots and leaving them in my phone. I want this page to be a landing page where I can come in whenever I see something that really motivates me. I just get a pen and write it down. Another goal that I want to track this year is reading books. I've really improved in 2020 where I make time every day or every week at least to sit down and finish a book. So this page here will be my book log, and I like to have some kind of white space in between as well. I don't like to fill in all of my pages, so every few pages I will have a page that has more white space. It's just a nice design element. So for this next page, I actually have this really creative idea. I want it to be really colorful, and it's not going to serve any other purpose than adding color. And I will get back to it with a bonus video sometime this month. So let's move ahead with the year at a glance page. This is a really important page in your journal, and this will show all the 12 months at a glance. I want to make it really pretty, so I started with a floral border that's just on the top part of the page, and then I wrote the words A Year at a Glance. And you can see that I've put in a lot of pencil work here. So then I started lettering in the months, January, February, March, and April. I think the first month is a little scary, and once you have that inked in, the whole calendar moves much quicker. I'll recommend that you use a really thin pen to do this because you want to fit those double-digit numbers easily inside a grid. I'm using a 01 thickness, that is the finest pen that I have, and I found that it worked perfectly for this. I will also recommend that you don't put in any pencil guidelines. I found the pencil lines very frustrating for this calendar, and I just kept erasing them as I went. Instead, I found that pulling out my phone and just referring to it at each month beginning to write it down correctly was all I needed. To add some extra design elements, I'm just going in and underlining each month. And then I finished off the page by drawing lines on the other 3 sides of the page. I find it easier to rotate my book rather than trying to twist my wrist in a funny angle. The bottom area I've reserved for the holidays, and I'm excited that I'm able to customize my holiday section this year. I will be adding birthdays and then Diwali, all of the celebrations that we have in our Hindu calendar, to this. At night, I realized that I wanted to add a little more detail to this page, and with my 01 pen, I just came in and took some quiet time to color in all of the areas of the florals. You can actually hear the pen in this video because it was really late at night and everybody was asleep, and this was like the first 10 minutes of quietness that I had to myself. I also added a gray border to the 4 sides of the page, and I used a dual brush pen for this. The color does not bleed through at all, and I initially thought of painting this, but then it was getting late at night and I thought a marker would be much quicker, And I actually love how the gray turned out, and this page is one of my absolute favorites in my bullet journal this time. Okay, now moving on to more planning pages. These are pages that I want to call as quarterly planning. So I'm going to have 4 pages called Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. This is a very, I guess, retail or marketing term where people evaluate how they've been performing every quarter. As a blogger, I've realized that I like to sit down and create content or just write down ideas for not just a week or a month. I like to just look ahead so that I don't wake up one Monday morning and realize I have nothing to post. I'm actually just writing down the letters Q and 1. And again, I'm using that same font that I used for 2021. The font is 10 pixels tall by 5 pixels wide. And for Q1, I will have January, February, and March. And this will just be a landing page where I can come in and write down any thoughts or ideas or something that I want to focus during these 3 months. I did something very similar to this for the end of 2020, and this inspired me to create dedicated pages for every 3 months in my new planner. So what I did in my old planner was that the last few pages were dot grid journal pages, and I just sat down and wrote down all the ideas that I wanted to cover in October, November, and December. I gave each of them a different color, so each month I'm able to track what I've actually done. Okay, so now we have our yearly goals written down that we broke down into quarters of Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. Next, you would break them down into weeks and months. But I realized that not only do I like having a monthly spread, I like having an area where I can write down what I plan to post every week. So this page is a new idea for this year, and I'm calling it week by week. Because very often what happens is if a week starts as January but ends as February, I end up not planning it ahead of time because I think I will start the February calendar early, but that never actually happens. So by planning content week by week, I know that every Monday I have something already planned. It doesn't matter if it's January or February. And that is it, friends. That are my initial 20 pages to set up the year of 2021. I'm going to flip through all of the pages with you, and it is so satisfying to see all of these pages all complete. I love the way this 2021 page turned out. Sometimes a simple pattern is all you need to make you feel creative. Again, I like adding motivational quotes. I added a doodle border for this one, and I love the way it turned out. I'm eager to fill these pages with my goals and action plans, and the gray color actually makes this whole page look so cohesive. In this page, I went in and colored a little bit of gray on one side of the page, and this would be a great idea to do with colors. For the Year in Pixels page, I went in and added a key in the bottom of the page, and this page is going to be one colorful one when it's done. The quotes page turned out cute, and also the book log page. A year at a glance page is still my favorite, and I've penciled in my holidays. I need to come back and verify all those dates. I have the Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 pages. I added a simple doodle border on 2 sides only. When I don't want to take the time to add a border on all 4 sides, I just use the 2 shorter sides and call it done. The week by week pages are my favorite ones, and I've only got 2 pages done, and I need to go back and finish those, which I plan to do this weekend. Let me know in the comments below which one of these pages are your favorite, and if you do recreate them and share them on social media, tag me at @SmitaKatti. I would love to see what you create. Thanks so much for spending some crafty time with me today, friends. Make sure to stay tuned and catch my next video in which I set up the first 3 months of my bullet journal. Till then, happy crafting!